How would you describe depression to someone who has never experienced it? In my case, it was a fatigue so strong that I didn't even want to get up to go to the bathroom just to stay in bed as long as possible. The second defining moment was the grim realization that there was nothing I was waiting for that could change my situation. For example, when you're sick with the flu or something similar and you're lying in bed feeling terrible, you know you'll feel better in a few days. When I was depressed, I saw no relief ahead that I could look forward to. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't think of a single thing that would make me happy. Everything around you takes on enormous significance, and at the same time, nothing matters. I couldn't stop worrying about everything but literally did nothing to change anything, after which I felt bad for doing nothing. It's like a state of unbearable boredom where, no matter how hard you try, you can't think of a single thing you'd want to do. Even thinking and breathing feels heavy. Life becomes a burdensome task. Waking up is hard, brushing your teeth is hard, going to work is hard. Meeting family and friends is not a joyful or fun event. It's a difficult task. Your batteries are always drained. Things you know you love to do now seem completely uninteresting. Your favorite food doesn't make you hungry. The music you've loved all your life doesn't make you want to listen anymore. It's a profound apathy. This depressive state comes and goes, but the one constant is this feeling of apathy. At least, I realized I needed help, but I feel apathetic even about the idea of seeking help. You know, Sarah Silverman once said it's like desperate homesickness when you're already home. I'd agree with that description, but tweak it slightly. It's more like longing for a home that doesn't exist. It's not about laziness. You're in such a state of paralysis that it's hard to even get out of bed to use the bathroom. You just constantly feel this way and occasionally experience bursts of anger. I had hygiene issues. I thought, why take a shower if I'm just going to get dirty again tomorrow? Life passes by like a movie, but you don't enjoy it. You see yourself walking, talking, but it's not really you. You feel nothing but remember that feelings exist. You can't sleep and can't stay awake. Windows and bridges tempt you, and you have to put in a lot of effort not to give in to their call. This description fits me best. I know everyone is different, but what you wrote is close to what I feel. It feels like I'm just watching myself. I exist just to exist, living on autopilot. Everything around seems unreal, and part of me even doubts whether I want to feel happy and normal during depressive episodes. The only thing that kept me going was the thought of the pain I'd cause my loved ones if I took my own life. So I keep living, and eventually I always get better. Slowly but surely. I start feeling human again, and for a while, joy returns to my life. Usually, these episodes last about 2 months every 2 years or so. But damn, they're intense. The simplest task can seem impossible, and just thinking about it makes you feel worse. But at the same time, your brain tells you you're lazy, that you didn't handle the task, and that no one will ever love you. Or it might tell you that the people who love you are mistaken and will eventually realize you're worthless and turn away from you. Imagine waking up one day and spending it doing one of your favorite hobbies, spending time with friends, engaging in your favorite activities, and eating delicious food. Nothing bad happens that day. Hell, you might even imagine it being a perfect weather day, and by the end of the day, while doing your favorite activity surrounded by pleasant company, you feel moderately okay, not terrible. That's one of the key aspects of depression. It's not that you're sad most of the time, but that your entire spectrum of emotions shifts downward. A normal person feels bad sometimes, good sometimes, and mostly neutral or average. Depression shifts the whole range down. So on your best days, you feel average, on your worst days, you feel awful, and most of the time, you just feel lousy. Most people's brains are amazing. They love finding patterns and don't have an off switch. Usually, when you feel angry or tired, you start looking for a reason. Oh, I forgot to eat breakfast. Or, I expected my boss to like my proposal, but he didn't. Then everything makes sense. But if you're depressed, you constantly feel awful for no apparent reason. And over time, this aspect itself begins to demoralize you. As I've said, feeling bad when you're in a bad situation doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're human. If your father has dementia, your mother can't walk anymore, and you just had to euthanize your dog, you should feel terrible. But if your parents have caregivers, you have a good job, your spouse loves and supports you, and you still constantly feel awful, that's depression. And your relentless brain, trying to find patterns, eventually tells you something like, hey, why don't you ruin your job, marriage, and friendships? Then at least what you're feeling now will make sense. Or, if this continues long enough, your brain might say, we're always in pain. We've tried doing things we like, but we still hurt. We've tried doing nothing and we still hurt. Clearly, the reason for our pain is that we still exist. What if we could change that? For me, it's constant fatigue. There are moments when you feel okay, but as soon as you start doing something, you get incredibly exhausted. Going to a store 5 minutes away is such a big event that afterward, I have to lie down for hours. I also feel the same way, as if I were worn out by illness or hadn't slept all night. In such a state, you can't even imagine getting through your day normally. Besides, I feel shame. I see or hear how friends, relatives, colleagues, and others lead their lives happily, enjoyably, and fully, and I feel deep shame because I'm not always capable of doing the same. Because of this, I feel like a slacker. I think I have problems with self-discipline and waste time because I don't force myself to have fun. This condition differs from the fear of missed opportunities. I don't want to do what they do. I just want to do something to feel normal. You constantly remind yourself that these are feelings, not facts. My brain can easily deceive me, but I'm not a shameful or lazy person. It's the depression speaking, the chemicals. It's not objective truth. Nevertheless, it's not always like this for me. It happens periodically. Sometimes the negatives last an hour, sometimes a day or week, and sometimes a month. The positive periods last just as long, and I'm grateful for them. I like the feeling when I'm in a positive state. I look around and try to fully embrace that state. Everything seems insurmountable during the worst periods. Even something as simple as taking out the trash seemed like an impossible challenge to me, and I couldn't make myself do it, so I accumulated garbage for weeks. On a scale from 1 to 10, most people wake up at 5. Good events lift their mood, bad events lower it, but they comfortably exist in this middle zone. During the period when I did nothing about my depression, my default state was at 2. So even if something incredible happened, my mood only rose to 3 or 4 and only temporarily. As soon as the high fades, I'm back in the pit. You lose interest in your hobbies and lose the motivation to find new ones. You have a free evening and can spend it just spinning in an office chair and staring at the ceiling because you don't want to do anything. It's almost a physical sensation pressing down on you, like being covered by a wet blanket of sadness, but you can't remove it. The blanket is so heavy that you realize you can't do anything about it, so you just let it suffocate you. Because of this, everything you used to enjoy becomes less appealing. Colors seem dull, food tasteless. A song that once meant the world to you now seems ordinary. All the good fades in your mind. There's a liar inside me that constantly tells me I'm a burden, that I stress people out, that people are disappointed in me, and so on. At least that's how it is for me. Sometimes it happens more often, sometimes less. Therapy has helped me manage the symptoms, but when I fall into a depressive hole, this liar screams loudly in my head. Personally, cilantro tastes like soap to me. It's interesting to wonder what it actually tastes like. It's similar to how I wonder what people without depression feel. I'll never know. It's like living where it snows constantly. Sometimes only 5 to 6 centimeters of snowfall. It's unpleasant, but you can still get to work, go shopping, etc. Maybe you'll skip today's workout or not attend a friend's birthday, but the snow keeps falling, and who knows how much will fall tonight. On other days, half a meter of snow falls. You spend an hour clearing the path to your house and end up late for work. Your back and hands ache from shoveling, and you leave early because it's still snowing, and your boss sees it. On some days, snowdrifts reach a meter. You shovel all morning, but you still can't clear the street. You miss work or other appointments, and exhaustion overwhelms you so much that you just lie down. By the time you wake up, all the cleared snow is buried again. There are weeks when there's a real blizzard outside. You can't open the door because it's blocked by snow. The lights flicker, and sitting in the living room gets too cold. So you lie down in bed, still dressed. The thing is, when it snows constantly, it drains you entirely. You get tired of the cold, tired of your body aching after shoveling. But if you don't shovel on lighter snow days, it'll be impossible to do so on heavier snow days. Besides, snow accumulates in places you can't clear, or sometimes it's invisible, like on the roof or the hill behind the house. And then an avalanche comes, tearing your house, foundation and all, and carrying you away with it. Neighbors say, "What a shame." They can't understand how it happened when he regularly shoveled the snow. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below the video, write how you would describe depression to someone who has never experienced it, and don't forget to check out our other videos.